So today I want to talk about the good life, what it means to live a good life or the good life. Is a topic of interest because you see, maybe we have all experienced this where you see someone who seems to have the life that everyone desires, maybe some celebrity, some influencer, or just someone in your life that you know of. But then you're shocked to hear of deep seated problems that they have, whether it be with their relationships, addiction, or maybe even to the point of suicide or suicidal thoughts. And that leads us to ask the question, what really is the good life? Because here it is, I have this person who is experiencing this and they're not experiencing the good life. I'm a fan of J. Cole. J. Cole is a rapper that I respect a lot. And my favorite song from him, and I think it's also his favorite song that he has written, it's called Love Yours. And he kind of chronicles or talks about, well, that song was inspired, according to him, in his pursuit of what he believed would be his ideal life as a successful rapper, a successful musician, and only to reach that pinnacle and realize how fake that life was, how much of a facade it was to experience that level of success, that level of wealth, level of fame that he enjoyed. And what he desired was a more simple or simpler life. And so he developed that song, Love Yours, where his message is we need to love ours. We need to stop thinking that everyone else's life is better than ours, but we can focus on enjoying our life. And I think is a profound point. But it kind of breaks down into the question of what really constitutes the good life. What is that? And you see, as human beings, we can't help but ask, like, what is the best way to live? You don't need to be a philosopher to talk about this because we all do it. Whether we're chasing a career, we're pursuing a relationship, or we're just trying to have a good weekend, we're all trying to figure out how to live and how to live well. No one is trying to be out here trying to live as mediocrely as possible. We're all trying to live well. And generally, we're guided as conditioned beings that we are. We're guided by our environment around us or the system that we have grown up in or the system in which we live. And we can't help but be influenced by the world around us or even influenced by our feelings and our inclinations, what feels good. And that is where the problem lies. We see the world, or even sometimes our feeling, which is influenced by the world around us, has been teaching us a lie or been teaching us a broken story of what it means to have a good life. We see we've been encouraged to believe that a good life is all about wealth, amassing wealth, fame, pursuit of pleasure, beauty. And we believe that those things represent the ideal of a good life. Whether we admit that or not, even if we have been exposed to some deeper form of thinking or belief, we are still influenced because it's so implanted around, especially in the Western world. We're so led to believe that that is what constitutes a successful person. We have phrases like, I made it, you know, and that has to do with getting rich. We have phrases like the American dream. It all has to do with being a consumer, like being able to accumulate things and wealth. And this is how we are programmed in a certain way, in a certain sense, to believe or to associate a good life. But here's where the story actually falls apart. You look at celebrities who are constantly on rehab, the ultra wealthy CEOs with broken families or with scandals, and the influencers with millions of followers, all the fame you can imagine, but no close friends. And they've got it all, but yet something is still missing. On the flip side, you look at a humble individual in a village, people with ordinary lives, some who battle sickness or poverty, but they have deep joy. They're satisfied, they're happy, they have a sense of connection. So, what gives? Clearly, something is off. And the truth is that we have been marketed this facade, this beautiful looking lie, and we've been misled into believe that happiness and peace come from what you have. But in reality, let me say this, I've come to appreciate that happiness, peace, security, they don't come from what you have. They come from who you are and how you live. Let's repeat that because I think it's a profound point. Um, it's an important mindset to change or to have. Like happiness, peace, and security don't come from what you have, but who you are and how you live. You know, so it's essential to analyze that. So then, what is this good life? It doesn't mean that we need to eliminate wealth as something essential because wealth is necessary in enjoying a certain level of stability or a certain level of security. A lot less than we imagine, though, but wealth is some level of wealth, money is essential, is necessary. To accomplish anything, we need things in life, especially in the systems in which we live, the societies in which we live. If you're looking at this video, most likely you live in that type of society where you need to accumulate a certain amount of wealth in order to function in our society successfully. But a lot less is necessary. Pleasure is necessary. We need to have some pursuit of pleasure in order to enjoy our relationships, in order to form good relationships. We need nice times. So, pleasure is important. You see, the key in terms of all these things fame, wealth, pleasure, beauty the key is balance. It's not that they're not essential or useless completely. Fame could be so useful in being a motivational force in our society for good and for positive, or even if it's not a great amount of fame, just having a good reputation among the people that we meet or the people that we interact with. We have a good level of fame, within our circle. This is good. This is something that we should pursue. This is a positive thing. But again, the key is being able to have balance. But balance alone is not enough. Now, how do you get that balance? There's something above balance, something that needs to be pursued in order to accommodate or to put that balance in place, and that is virtue. Virtue, the pursuit of virtue is what would help us to accommodate or to put in place that balance that we're looking for. Humility, you know, what gives us the strength to say no when enough is enough? What gives us that balance? Or what gives us the humility to value people over profit? It's virtue. Pursuing a life of virtue or developing our character based on virtue. Let me give you some examples. You can think of many different virtuous qualities, but we think of patience in order to build real relationships. To really listen to others. You need discipline in order to manage your money and your health. We need courage in order to pursue what is right, even when it costs us, even when it may mean sacrificing our wealth or sacrificing some pleasure. It takes courage to do what's right, even if it may sacrifice some of our fame. Others may not appreciate us as much because we decide to do or pursue something that's right. That takes courage. That's a virtue. Kindness in order to be a good father, a good mother, a good son, a good daughter, a good neighbor. Kindness is essential. Those are examples of virtues. There's an exhaustive long list of things that we could pursue, virtuous qualities, but the fact of the matter is that virtue, without virtue, all the wealth, all the beauty, all the health, all the pleasure that we could pursue in the world will collapse. It will collapse like that house that's built on sand, not a solid foundation. Virtue is the foundation that builds for us a peaceful, secure, truly happy life. Let's think of an example that can help us to appreciate that. We think about a father who doesn't make six figures, but he's faithful. He's present for his family, for his children. He's generous with his time. He's honest, even though sometimes it may cost him. And therefore, he's respected. He may not have a flashy car, but his children trust him. His wife respects him. His friends count on him. That's a good life. That's the good life. That man is living the good life. He can rest his head at night and have a beautiful night's sleep, even though he may not have all of the material possessions. He's not pursuing a life of pleasure. He's not pursuing a life of wealth or pursuing a life of fame. He's pursuing a life of virtue, building the character that allows him to enjoy true peace and security as an individual. Now, think about the opposite, a man who's got millions in the bank, but he's alone. Perhaps he has multiple failed marriages, unable to maintain a steady relationship because he spent most of his time focusing on amassing wealth. And it's funny because sometimes, again, in our society, we are led to believe that the best way to contribute to the world is to find a problem that needs to be solved and use it to make money. And so a lot of people think that they're being virtuous by pursuing wealth. It's a sort of a trap. And yes, there are lots of companies and a lot of solved problems that have been solved based on that pursuit of wealth, but at what cost for the individual? Yeah. However, I would argue that this could be done the other way around by pursuing a life of virtue. At times, there are opportunities that we may have to make contributions to the world. And perhaps it may be that we can monetize these skills or these ideas and end up becoming wealthy. But you see, the focus is the foundation that has been laid is a good one. And it's one that gives that person true peace, true security. You know, it's not just about building a massive structure, impressive structure, but on a weak and terrible foundation. See, we got to get the priorities in order. And that's what it means to pursue the good life. So, how do we pursue that good life then? Well, we must organize or fix our mindset, decode, or I should say, remove the programming that we have right now, this pursuit of things and pleasure and fame, but have the right order and structure. The good life is not something we can buy, but it is something that we build. It's not about, we build it by cultivating virtue day by day. And that's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's something that takes time. So we want to invest in our relationships, really listen to people. Yeah, the currency or the investment we make in relationships is by lending an ear, listening to people, listening to those around us, asking questions that allow us to dig deep into others and form bonds and relationships. Practice gratitude on a daily basis. Some have found that, even me personally, I found that having a list of things that I'm grateful for, like, taking a little note, sometimes things come to mind. At first, because of not having that habit or that attitude of gratitude, it could be difficult to think about reasons that we're grateful. But by developing the habit of doing it daily, you start observing and having a mind that's more conscious of blessings and positive things that you have. So you develop that attitude of gratitude. Embrace limits. Limits are not meant to be restrictive or to cause suffering, but they're meant to help us stay on track. Say no to things that distract us from what matters. That's how we pursue that life of virtue. Choose integrity even when no one is watching. That's where respect and virtue is built, in dark corners where no one sees us. It's just us and the world, God, the universe, however you want to think about it. No one is watching, but we're still virtuous. We're choosing integrity. Find ways to serve others. These are ways that we pursue virtue and we build the foundation for a truly good life. So, the next time you scroll past a millionaire influencer or whatever it is that may be influencing our mind into thinking or believing the lie, the delusion, the facade, think about it. Do I really want that? Or do I want peace? Do I want true meaning? Do I want connection? The good life isn't about having more, it's about being more and becoming more. And that only can happen through building our character through virtue. So, you know, with that in mind, we know that that begins not with chasing pleasure and how we feel or what others are pursuing, but it's about choosing virtue. Virtue is what helps us to find peace, to love deeply, to live with strength and humility, even in a chaotic world. That's a good life, and it's within our reach. So, thank you so much for watching, guys. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Let's live well. Take care.